Yesterday, before the Super Bowl, Deebo Samuel requested a trade, and I'm actually going to tell you how this might hurt his case, but there's only really two options that work for the San Francisco 49ers in a potential trade. And I don't think Deebo Samuel is going to like either one of them. So I'm going to tell you exactly why that is the case. But first, to be able to really rationalize this, we have to hop into his contract and we have to understand the inner workings of it, how much time is left, how much dead money and cap space will be eaten up by a release or a potential trade. And we'll talk about the pitfalls that Deebo Samuel might be up against because I do believe that Deebo Samuel kind of let the cat out of the bag, that he requested a trade in order to facilitate his release. The only problem with that is I don't think the San Francisco 49ers are going to release him. And once we get through this, I think you're going to see exactly why I say that. So let's hop right into his contract, as all the details are going to be shown on Spotrac. So if we look right here, and you can see the remaining years left on his deal, he is signed through 2026, and they can void out that year if they wanted to. But he is definitely under contract next year with a cap hit of 15.8 million and a dead cap hit of 31 million. Dead cap hit means if the 49ers move off of Deebo Samuel, this $31 million cap hit remains even with him not on the roster. But there are potential options, and let's look into those options right now. So I'm sure you guys have heard about pre and post June 1st releases. So let's talk about that and why that is important in this conversation. You can see pre June 1st release, he will take on a dead cap hit of $31 million with a negative $15 million in cap savings. Not ideal. Not something that the 49ers are wanting to do. Pre 6-1 trade, same situation. So you can see right here that this isn't an ideal situation for the 49ers, that Deebo Samuel has requested a trade from the 49ers. They have so much money tied up into him, and this has kind of like been a what appears to be like a backloaded deal. So a lot of the hits are coming in this final portion of it. And rather than taking a potential pay cut, I do think he is going to do exactly what he did, which is request a trade. But the problem with him requesting a trade publicly is pretty interesting, and we'll get into that in a second. But let's get into the other options that the 49ers potentially have, which is a post June 1st release or trade. And as you can see, it definitely softens the blow a little bit. A post June 1st release or trade only accounts for a $10.6 million dead cap hit in 2025, but a staggering $20.4 million cap hit in 2026, and only saves them about 5.2 against the cap in 2025 if they designate him for this post June 1st release or trade. So this takes us into the two likely outcomes that remain for Deebo Samuel. And like I said, I don't think he's going to like either one of them because, as I alluded to, I believe that he leaked his trade request in order to nerf his value in a trade to hopefully facilitate a release. The reason why Deebo Samuel would want to be released is so he could then be free to sign and negotiate with any team that he wanted. When you look at Eric Armstead, the 49ers approached him for a they wanted him to take a pay cut. He didn't want to do that, and so they outright released him. As you remember, he was able to then go and sign elsewhere with another team. But I don't know if the 49ers want to do that again, because for Eric Armstead, they're not going to recoup a compensatory draft pick. And for comparison's sake, when the 49ers went through that whole situation with Jimmy Garoppolo and he was on the side field and we thought he was gone, but he ended up returning on like a restructured 1-year deal. It's because the 49ers weren't going to let Jimmy Garoppolo go and just outright release him because he had value. And so it didn't make sense from a business perspective to let a player like Jimmy Garoppolo go. And so they kept him, right? And so actually in keeping him, they were able to recoup a draft pick, a compensatory 4th-round draft pick at the end of that season. Obviously, Jimmy breaks his ankle, Brock Purdy comes in, and the rest is history. But because he signed with the Raiders, the 49ers got a 4th-round draft pick in return for Jimmy Garoppolo. So when I look at the situation with Deebo Samuel, I see a situation where if they release him, they're not just able to like get out of the contract. They're taking on pretty substantial cap hits. Like I said, a post-June release would be 10 million in 2025 and 20 million in 2026. So it doesn't make sense to me that the San Francisco 49ers would just be like, yeah, go ahead, Deebo. You can go sign wherever you want. And hey, Seattle Seahawks, the Rams, Philadelphia, the Chiefs, yeah, just go sign wherever you want. I don't see it playing out that way. I see a situation where the 49ers have 2 options. They trade Deebo Samuel, they keep Deebo Samuel. And I don't think Deebo wants either one of those options because, like I already mentioned, Deebo can't pick where he's going to get traded. The 49ers are just, he asked for the trade. Okay, we're going to trade you. And so they could facilitate where he wants to go, and they could just say, you know what, we're taking on such massive cap hits based on your contract that we're going to try to get the most value for you that we can. And so there's that option. And the other option is the Jimmy Garoppolo option, where you don't participate in training camp, you play off to the side, and you maintain on the roster, and then you just have to wait until your contract is up at the end of the year, and they void it out, and he becomes an unrestricted free agent after this season, and then he goes and sign elsewhere. So then the 49ers could actually recoup a compensatory draft pick, because remember, if they just outright cut him or release him, he does not trigger or become a part of the comp pick formula. So the 49ers would get nothing in return. I don't think that's what they want to do. So I really think there's just 2 options. And they might be a little bit more rigid this time around than maybe just what they did with Eric Armstead and outright releasing him. So I think it makes for a very fascinating situation because, like I said, I think that Deebo kind of divulging these plans hurts his value because teams know that he's available. And there's a good chance that, you know, no, the 49ers might not find the value that they want. And again, it's going to be a really fascinating situation to watch play out. But I don't know. I could see the 49ers playing hardball here and only giving him the option that either we trade you for the value that we want in return, or you're going to just stick around and play out the deal that you signed, and we're not going to trade you. So I don't know. Do you think that's the realistic outcome? Because I don't think the 49ers are going to want to just outright release him. I think that hurts them. I don't think that is of a value to them. I don't think they will see it that way. So they will want to get something in return, whether through the comp pick formula or through a trade. I don't think it's in the cards for Deebo to just walk out of there and be able to pick and choose wherever he wants to sign. But I don't know. You tell me. What do you think is going to be the most likely outcome of those situations? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you think the 49ers would just outright release him, take on a $10 million cap hit plus a $20 million cap hit the following year with zero in return? I don't really think so, but you might. Let me know in the comments below. And as always, make sure to like and subscribe for more updates.